Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online. So we have come up with the today's current affairs, that is 8th February, right? I hope you are ready. We will, before going into the detailed discussion, we will see what are all the news that we are going to cover. Today we have very important news which will be very much helpful, and mostly these are factual in nature except this election commissioner issue. So we will have a detailed discussion about it. It may take some 10 to 15 minutes, which is very important to understand. You cannot just by heart the issues, you need to understand them clearly, right? So this is an issue based article from the Indian Polity. We will also see, of course, the facts related to the election commissioner, which you can frequently see in the exams. Then satellite based toll collection. So you might be aware that the toll collection is currently being done with RFID tags, right? RFID tags are being used if you have visited to any of the tolls. Now government is planning to replace those RFID tags through satellite based toll collection. We will see in detail what actually is, why RFID tags are being replaced. This comes under science and technology. Then World Sustainable Development Summit, very important. That is the summit recently inaugurated by our Vice President. So facts related to this are very important. Then Prithvi Vigyan scheme, again it comes part of government schemes, right? So it is again very important. Then Rashtriya Gokul Mission scheme again. So these are all collected from PIB, not covered from any of Hindu or Indian Express. There is a high chance that these will appear in the exams. Then Nai Manzil scheme, again one more scheme. So these are all schemes. Then primary agriculture credit societies. So what are they, how they are working, what the role they are playing at the agriculture, we will see. This is also from PIB. So the background is that government is going to digitalize these primary agriculture credit societies. We are not going to just see the funds and all, but we will understand the role of PACs, and then we will see the context, the details of the factual elements. Then Vidyanjali Scholarship Program, again the scheme. Divya Kala Mela, so which is being inaugurated in Tripura, Agartala. Then we will also see some factual pointers, and finally we will see the practice questions as well, right? Yeah, so it has started, Malini. I hope you are following, right? So as I said, this will have a little bit detailed discussion, and after that these are all a little bit factual in nature. I will give you the background to make you understand in a much better way, right? So if you have any doubts, you can ask here. I am watching your comments. Anything you want to tell or you want to ask, you can always comment here so that we will clear your queries, right? So let's start today's session. First one, election commissioners. This is an issue based discussion. Why this is in news? Why we have taken this article? Because for the first time since the independence, again I am stressing it, for the first time since independence, the election commissioner, chief election commissioner is going to be selected through consultative process. So this is the first time that this chief election commissioner is going to be selected through consultative process. Till now it was only government, like Prime Minister or the cabinet minister, they have taken in a discretionary manner. Now it is going to be a consultative, right? So we will see why it is being taken as a consultative process for the first time, why it does not happen till now since independence. We will go in detail about this because this is very important to understand, right? So this is the background. The already existing election commissioner, Anup Chandra Pandey. So this is the person. He is going to retire, and the government is going to appoint the new election commissioner. And this new appointment will come through consultative process. We will see what actually is consultative process, and then we will also see all the facts related to this particular thing. I hope you are clear. As the new person is going to appoint it through consultative process, that's why we have taken this article and we have kept here, right? Before going into the details, like what is this consultative process, why it is first time, so all these things we will see. But before that, we will understand who are election commissioners, right? Let's understand who are election commissioners. The election commission, before understanding election commissioner, there is also a body, constitutional body, election commission, which is being responsible for conducting the elections in India. So you are very much aware about it. There is an election commission which has power to conduct the elections for which of the following categories. That is also important. For parliament, that means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, state legislatures, right, MLAs, and then office of president, and then office of vice president. So this is very, very important to remember. Election Commission's role is to conduct free and fair elections for Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislatures, president and vice president. All other elections are taken care by some other bodies. For example, Panchayat elections is taken care by State Election Commission. So what we are learning here, before going into the issue, we are understanding what is the role of Election Commission, right? So this is the role of Election Commission to conduct the elections and an independent body. This is very important to understand. Independent body means nobody should influence it, because free and fair elections are very much core feature of democracy, right? So it is an independent body, it has power to conduct elections to this particular bodies. Now we will understand the element of election commissioner, right? Election commissioners. So till 1970s there was one election commissioner. There is no chief election commissioner like concept. There was only one election commissioner. Under him or her, there are many members who are working to conduct the elections, right? So this is the background. So election commissioner is the person who is heading the election commission. So already there is a constitutional body. Constitutional body is there. So under it, there is an election commissioner who is taking care of all the elements of election commission, right? So we have discussed about election commission and the role of election commissioner. He or she is the head of the election commission to tackle the duties given by the constitution, right? So who appoints this chief election commissioner? It will be appointed by president. So president appoints the chief election commissioner or election commissioners, right? So this is derived from article 324 itself, right? So the president has the power to fix how many members should be there. Till 1970s, only one person was there. He is called as election commissioner. But after that, because of the increased duty of the elections, president has appointed 3%. Then what has happened? So there was a single person. He was given with the name chief election commissioner, and then there are two more persons, election commissioners, right? Since 1970s or 1980s, there was a multiple members in the election commission. So I am just making you understand how the election commission is working. The role of election commission and who is chief election commissioner, what is the background of becoming multiple members in the election commission, right? So when any other election commissioner so appointed, so if for example, if there are more members, then the person already existing will be acted as a chairman, right? So these are the elements of election commissioner, how he became the chief election commissioner, right, after 1980s. Here one more thing is important to remember for exam. They have equal powers and equal salaries. So there was appointment of chief election commissioner and there are two more election commissioners. They all have equal powers and equal salary, okay? Allowance, everything is equally distributed, similar to the judge of the Supreme Court. So there is no discrimination even if there is a chief election commissioner. So along with the two election commissioner, their powers and the salaries, everything is equal. There is no discrimination. And even the decisions, whenever there is a contradiction between three members, there is a differences among chief election commissioner as well as the two election commissioner. Even in that case, the word of chief election commissioner will not prevail. Rather, the majority. There are three members. So majority means at least two members has to be accepted, right? So this is the very much important thing to remember, that all the election commissioners are equally empowered. Only that there is a chief election commissioner, so that he will take the responsibility whenever there is a requirement, right? So I hope you understood the election commission, the role, and then chief election commissioner and then election commissioners, what they are doing, and the powers given to them or the privileges given to them, right? So these are called as election commissioners. And the eligibility, also we need to know two more facts related to the election commissioner. They hold the post for 6 years or 65 years, whatever the yearly they achieve. For example, today they are appointed. For the next 6 years, if their age reaches 65, then immediately they have to retire. even if it is just 4 years, because his or her age has reached 65, they have to retire, right? If not, then they can continue for 6 years, right? And they are, so there was, yeah. So until, so only 6 years they can eligible, and reappointment is not possible, right? Okay. So here you need to understand the term of election commissioners, that is 6 years, and then maximum is 65. Whatever they achieve yearly, so they have to give up the post, right? And also they can be removed only on the process similar to the judges of the Supreme Court. They cannot removed by the government, because indirectly it is giving freedom to election commission, right? That you can work on your own will. So there is no influence of the government or any other persons, right? So they can be removed only similar to the judges of Supreme Court. So how Supreme Court judges are removed? Parliament has to pass special majority, half of the House members plus 2/3 of present and voting. For example, if there are 100 members in Lok Sabha, total strength is 542, for example. So at least half of the members, right? So 271 members has to pass the bill, accept that, okay, we will remove the Supreme Court judge. And also 2/3 members present and voting. Out of 545, 542, only 300 members are present, for example, right? So this 271 has to be followed, and also 2/3 of 300, that is 200. So some people may be absent, right? So that's why at least half of the members has to be accepted. Along with that, among the present member, 2/3 of the majority has to be followed. So the same procedure is followed to the Chief Election Commissioner or election commissioners to be removed, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this election commission? So what we have seen till now, what is election commission? Who are election commissioners? What are their roles? What are the eligibility criteria? All these things we have seen. In exam, you will see a lot of questions on election commission, right? You need to understand the majority, how they can be removed, what is the eligibility, and what is the salaries. All these things are equal to all the commissioners, similar to the Supreme Court judges. That you need to understand. Now, what happened now? You understood the election commission and then chief election commissioners and the election commissioners. Now, why it is there in news? There is a change in process of appointment of the election commissioners, right? So this is the main context that we are discussing. There is a change in the process of appointment of the election commissioners. Now, let's understand the background, why there is a change of the process, right? In 2015, 2017 as well as 2021 and 22, some members, 4 petitioners, no need to worry about their names, 4 petitioners has filed a case in Supreme Court that appointment of chief election commissioner or the election commissioners are not in a synchronous with the democratic elements or the what mentioned in the constitution. Just assume the conducting of the elections should be very free and fair, and if a person who is affiliated to one political party or any government, so if that person is appointed, will there be any free and fair elections? So he may influence all the election commission, right? So that's why this 4 petitioner has filed a case in Supreme Court that appointment of election commissioners are not in consensus with the constitution. So there is some discrepancy. The appointed person is indirectly supported to one particular party or one particular government. So please look into this. They have put forward in front of the Supreme Court, right? So they have put in front of the Supreme Court their case. I hope you are following, right? So 4 petitioners has filed the case in front of the Supreme Court. They have asked that, they have told that in the Article 324, very, very important to remember, in the Article 324, it has mentioned 2 things, right? See, I'm going little bit detailed because this is an issue. This is not a fact. I can just give you all the facts and then dump here, so you can easily remember, but that is not the case. You need to understand the issue, what is happening in the country, so how the questions can be framed, right? So under Article 324, there were 2 provisions. Understand this, very, very important. 1, election commissioners should be appointed by President election commissioners should be appointed by president. This is one case. And that particular president who is following should follow the law made by the parliament. There are two conditions. I am repeating again under Article 324. The election commissioner should be appointed by president. Okay, fine. He has to follow the law that being passed by the parliament, or if there is any law passed by the parliament, he has to follow. Okay. So here what has happened, since 1947 till now there was no parliament law. There is no parliament law at all. So what is happening? President is appointing based on the recommendation of the Prime Minister. For example, now Narendra Modi ji is there, right? So whoever the Prime Minister is appointing, the President will appoint him. Whatever the Prime Minister PM suggests to the President, this President is appointing the election commissioner. Will you think that this is a fair? Right? So who are all there? Opposition members are there, different parties are there. So it should be fair, free and equal representation among all the parties, because this is an independent constitutional body. But is that not happening? Not now only, but even like when the Congress was dominating the electoral politics, the same conditions, till today the same condition. The president is just appointing a person who is suggested by the Prime Minister. So all these things is actually contradictory to the article. This is completely ignored. What this Article 324 other provision is saying, that there should be a law. There should be a law, and whatever the law says, that particular has to followed by the president. So here law itself completely absent. So this petitioner has asked Supreme Court that there is no law since independence, right? So this president is appointing just discretion of the government. So please look into it. They have come to the Supreme Court, right? Now what Supreme Court has said, so we have discussed all these things. What is Article 342? I have just explained you here, right? Now earlier process we will know, how it is being appointed. So the very basic thing, earlier just Ministry of Law will propose some names to the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister will recommend to the President, and finally that particular person will be appointed. So there is no role for any other parties like opposition or multi-parties. So directly the President is appointing whoever Prime Minister is saying, and Prime Minister was in turn receiving from Law Ministry. Again the same government. Law Ministry means government only, right? So the whole process, what is happening? There is no role for any political parties, any other opposition. Only the government is directly appointing. So indirectly there may be influence in the election process as well. So that's what they felt. Now what Supreme Court said, so that is very important. Supreme Court said that there should be any law. It is not the government discretion. There should be a law. Till since independence till now there was no law established. So try to bring the law. So that's what the Supreme Court said. It has ordered the Parliament that you first bring the law. Okay, put some provisions who are eligible and who can appoint, what is the process of appointment. Clearly you mention the act or passed a law related to that, right? So that is very important, that to understand. Supreme Court has said that you should bring a law and President has to follow the same provisions that are mentioned in the law, right? Then it also suggested one more thing along with the passage of law. It has suggested one more thing, that the persons who are to be selected, who are eligible to select the election commission, it said that there should be three persons. One is PM, then leader of opposition, and then Chief Justice of India. So the committee who are going to appoint the election commission, these three persons should form a committee: Prime Minister, leader of opposition, Chief Justice of India. Together these three people should select the election commissioner. Till now what is happening? Directly Law Ministry is proposing and Prime Minister is directly telling to the President that you appoint this person. But now Supreme Court has said that the Prime Minister, leader of opposition, right? For example, this now we have Adhir Chowdhury from Congress as a leader of opposition, and then Chief Justice of India. So identify here, there is only PM from the government, there is leader of opposition, and there is a neutral person of Chief Justice of India. So do you think that it will become much fair? Of course yes. Earlier it was just government who is appointing. Now this process will be very much neutral because opposition member was there and then Chief Justice of India also there, right? So that's what Supreme Court said, that you should appoint a person which are recommended by this particular committee. Along with that, you need to bring a law for that as well. That's what the Supreme Court said. And one more thing the court has said, after saying all these things, court has said that anyway all these things should be subjected to any law. If there is any changes in this particular thing, we will accept. It has given a direction but not a mandate. They did not tell that you only these 3% should be there. They just suggested and told that if you bring any law, try to bring these elements. Okay. But what government has bought? Government has bought the bill. The bill in the parliament as said by the Supreme Court. But what they have done, they have included Prime Minister, fine, that was said by the Supreme Court, and then leader of opposition, same as Supreme Court, fine, till now it was fine. But third person, they did not bring the Chief Justice of India, rather they bought a cabinet minister. So what will happen again? See here, this CJ is replaced by minister now. So Prime Minister and this minister are from same, that is government. So there forms a majority. Even leader of opposition is opposing. There is no scope because majority will prevail. There are 2 members from the government. So they will prevail and the final decision will obviously the same as earlier, right? So that's what the criticism is there in news. The selection will be made from 5 names shortlisted by the Ministry of Law. Finally, who will decide? Again, cabinet minister and prime minister only, right? So this is the criticism that I want to focus here from various articles, right? Any doubt in this? That's what I was telling. This is an issue based rather than directly mugging up. I have explained it very clearly that what is election commission, right? I am coming again in brief manner. So the context we have seen for the first time, this consultation process. Earlier Prime Minister was directly recommending to the President. Now what is happening in this consultation process? PM, leader of opposition and cabinet minister. For the first time, these 3 persons are together going to select the election commissioner. That is the context that I was telling. So here we have seen what is election commission, to which elections they are eligible, and also who are election commissioners, right, appointed by the president, and what is the earlier process, how they are being appointed. And some petitioner has filed a case in the Supreme Court that there is a discrepancy what constitution has said and what actually the government is following. Constitution has said that there should be a law and then president has to follow that law, right? So they have filed the petition. Supreme Court has come up with certain directions to the government to appoint in the process of the election commissioners. And finally, government has brought slightly change, not slight actually, it has a huge impact of course, that they have removed Chief Justice from the committee and they have added cabinet minister. So finally it is in the hands of government only, right? So that's what in the end, it should be politically aware, like, we need to bring the political awareness, political support from all the parties. Even some other party which will be elected in the upcoming elections, say for example, some other party has come. Even though they are now fighting for this, after getting into power, they won't again change. They just will stay like this because they came into the government, right? So political will should be promoted so that this important provisions will be neutrally taken care, right? I hope you understood the issue, right? I am just not reading these things. These are all the things that I have discussed through discussion, so that you understand it in a much better way, right? Okay, right. Thank you. So if you are having any doubts, please feel free to ask here. I will again explain because this issue is very, very important, right? So if you are facing any difficulty, I will try to repeat again. You can comment here. Okay, nice. Okay, next article. From now onwards, it is very factual. So my efforts will be much lesser and your efforts to remember will be much higher. Okay, right. So the second article is satellite based toll collection. So you all know, right? Toll collection is very simple concept. So whenever you are traveling through any of the toll plazas, you need to pay certain amount of money, right? Now it is being handled with the RFID tag. So in front of your vehicles, there will be a RFID tags. So whenever you are passing through, the toll will be collected, right? So here government is trying to implement. So Nitin Gadkari ji, who is Ministry of Transport, he has told in the Rajya Sabha yesterday only, he told that government is going to implement satellite based toll collections in the highways even before model code of conduct. Election Commission will release the model code of conduct because elections are coming in the May, right? So there may be a hurdle if government is bringing some new initiatives, because that's the election code will work. Government should not bring big policy making that influence the voters. So Nitin Gadkari has said that we are going to replace RFID tags, right? Replace RFID tags with satellite based toll collection, right? So the context, I hope you understood, right? Okay, yeah. So this is the context. The government is replacing the RFID tags with the satellite based toll collection. Before going into the satellite based toll collection, let's understand what is RFID tag, okay? Right? Radio frequency fast tags or RFID tags, right? Radio frequency tags. So these are the tags which are reloadable tag. That means you can enhance money, you can automatically give the money, and this will be automatically deducted when you are passing through any of the toll plazas. So this is your car, there is a tag. So if you are passing through this, there will be one stopover, there will be a reader. So it will read and send the communications to the antenna. So this antenna will digitally computerize, and then the money will be deducted whenever you are passing through this. So all these things are happening through satellite communication in radio waves. So we have electromagnetic spectrum, we have radio waves, infrared waves, visible rays, as well as gamma rays, right, alpha rays. So we have different things. These tags are working under radio frequency, under the electromagnetic tag. Whenever you are passing through, your money will be deducted automatically through computerization with the help of satellite communication. That's how the RFID tags are being utilized. Now, what they have done, earlier if you are traveling through highways, you need to wait, you need to give the cash, you need to take the change, and then you need to pass through the toll plaza. So what happened? It was much time taking. Now RFID tags has reduced the time. So you can just go through it, there is no cash transaction. Digitally, you can easily transact and pass through the toll. So it was introduced in 2016, very important to remember. So in 2016, this was implemented. From January 2021, it was mandatory that if you are going through the cash transaction, it will be double the cost of RFID tags. So if you are paying 30 rupees for RFID tags, it will be 60 rupees through the cash transaction. So automatically people, why they will pay extra money? So they have shifted to the RFID tags. Fine, all these things happened, it was successful that we have reduced the time. But what has happened after 5 to 6 years, government has observed that on an average 8 minutes, would you accept this? There was 8 minutes waiting time on an average. So you may have faced 1 minute, but in big highways where there are number of vehicles, where there are number of lorries, it was observed that 8 minutes delay because of some RFID technology lag, or there are some rush of vehicles at single place. So there are only 4 RFID tags or 4 lanes, but hundreds of vehicles has rushed during the festival times. So lot of vehicles has stuck in front of RFID tags, right? So it was reduced, but still there is a chance to reduce much in a better way. So it enabled automatic toll collection, right, without stopping vehicles. These fast tags was actually launched, but what has happened? They were not able to reduce the congestions in the highways. That's what the government has observed. See, this rush has been observed in the fast tags whenever there is a technical glitches or many vehicles. Now government is trying to bring this satellite based collection, right? So I hope you understood what are RFID tags, how they are working, when they are mandated, when they have launched, and what the problems they have created, right? So one problem that they have created is the congestion in the highways because of delay in the reading, right? One more issue is this, I forgot to discuss one more issue, that it is not collected based on the distance, right? For example, you are just passing for 1 kilometer after toll plaza, you want to change it to you have reached the destination immediately after your toll plaza. For example, here there is a toll plaza and you are traveling and your destination is here only, and one more person, so like this is A, this is B, his destination is much far, like here, you are also here. So what they are doing, you are paying equal amount this person has paid. So there is no differences for the person who traveled in a much longer distance and a person who is ending up with immediately after the toll plaza. So there is no difference, right? So this is discriminating. The people who are traveling with different distance are being paid with the same amount. That is also an issue with the RFID tags, right? So there are two problems. One is congestion and second one is charging equally irrespective of the distance, right? So those are the two issues that government has observed. Now what government will do? Government will bring satellite based toll collection. In this process, what government will do? They will attach an electronic device to all the vehicles. Electronic device means don't think that this is a big machine. It is a very small chip, very small chip. This electronic device will be attached to the vehicle, right? Whatever the distance that has traveled by this particular vehicle, based on the distance they travel, it will be charging based on the distance. For example, this has traveled 100 kilometers and one more vehicle traveled 1000 kilometers, right? So it is not based on just passing through the toll plazas, but how much distance they are being traveled. So based on the distance, it will be charged. And how it will work? They will put the electronic device, right? And also they will geofence the highways. So highways will be measured through satellites. So whatever the distance that are being for every kilometer, they will geofence, and that will also make what is the distance of the highway in that particular stage. So these two will be connected, electronic device and then highway distance that were being taken care by the satellite. So finally they will measure based on the distance. That is one case. One more case is this, that there won't be any toll plaza. You will just pass through it, that's all. You will just pass through, there won't be any toll plaza at all. Based on your travel distance, so you can be easily charged. So here delay will also be reduced. There is no toll plaza at all. The concept of toll plaza itself will be removed because already the chip has been connected and highways has geofenced, right? So based on your distance, you will automatically deduct it from your account. So if you are not able to pay that, if you are not recharging your electronic device, so you cannot move it, right? There will be some method where you will be stopped to travel through the distance. So there will be some checks and balances in the highways, so where they will stop your vehicle, right? So this is the satellite based toll collection, right? So I hope you are clear with. Any doubts in this? We have discussed what is why government is replacing this, right? Because there is issues with the RFID tags in form of congestion and then distance the travel. So finally government will be connecting the electronic devices to the vehicles, and then they will also geo-fence the highways. Finally it will reduce the waiting time. There no need to wait anything, they will just pass through, right? So that's how the distance, based on the distance you will pay the toll price, and also there won't be any stoppage. This is the satellite based collections which government is going to start from the next coming 1 month. Okay, very good. Thank you for the response that you don't have doubts. Now the next one, World Sustainable Development Summit. Recently, Vice President has inaugurated the World Sustainable Development 2024, yesterday only. So yesterday only Vice President has launched this, right? So that's why we have taken the news from the PIB, Press Information Bureau. So in Press Information Bureau, each ministry will give the news, each President office, Prime Minister office, as well as Vice President office. So they will give the news. Based on that, we will collect the news from PIB. So this is the context that we have taken the article. Now, before going into this year summit, let's understand what actually is Sustainable Development Summit. Before this, what is sustainable development? Sustainable development means using the earth resources without affecting the future generations, right? For example, your mother has cooked some food, right? So she will not consume everything. She will think about your father, yourself, and if you have any siblings, so then only finally she will consume the food based on the availability, right? So what we are doing in terms of environment, we are extracting the resources as much as possible, right? Because of this, there is a climate change, and that will impact the future generations, right? So when you are using all the resources now, the future generation, what they will consume? They will face lot of issues, right? So sustainable development means developing our earth or economy in synchronize with the without affecting the future generations. That is called as sustainable development. So here, World Sustainable Development Summit is an annual conference. So you already understood the sustainable development. So this particular conference will discuss all the measures to be taken to sustain for the future generation. The environment need to be sustained. So who is conducting this? That is again important. The Energy and Resource Institute. We will see details about it, don't worry. Just understand what is sustainable development, the annual conference, who are conducting it. Till now, we have discussed this. This conference was instituted in 2001 as a Delhi Sustainable Development Summit. So when it was launched for the first time, it was known as Delhi Sustainable Development Summit, which was launched in 2001. This is the only summit which is happening in developing world. So India is a developing country, right? Not like US, European countries. India is a developing country, and every year this conference will happen only in India. Very, very important. Every year it happens in India only. So no other country will host. Every year only India will host this, right? So this is such conference that this is the only conference that is happening in developing world, that is India. And what is the objective? Just to accelerate the sustainable development and climate change issues, right? So to discuss about all these things, and they want to protect the environment for future generations, right? So what is sustainable development? What is this conference? Who launched this? When it was launched? What is the objective? That's what we have seen. Now we will see the Energy and Resource Institute, which is being conducting the World Sustainable Development Summit. So this is a non-profit organization, not any United Nations body or not any government body under any ministry. It is a non-profit research institute. It is a private institute, right? So it conducts research on environment, sustainable development, and how India can contribute for sustainable development, what are the measures to be taken, what are the consequences if we don't take. So all these things will be handled by this particular non-profit organization. It was established in 1974. This particular institute was launched in 1974 as Tata Energy Research Institute. So Tata's, you might be aware, right? So it was established as Tata Energy Research Institute, but after that it was renamed as Energy Resource Institute in 2003. These years are important to remember. First it was launched in 1974, and then later it was renamed as the Energy Research Institute in 2003, right? So these details also you need to know. You can, if you see the previous questions, this is very popular institute that questions may come. And let's know about this year's summit as well, where it is happening, what is the theme, that is also very important. This is the 23rd edition. This year World Sustainable Summit is 23rd edition, being happening in India Habitat Center, New Delhi. So it is happening in New Delhi, right? And what is the theme? That is again important. Leadership for Sustainable Development and Climate Justice, right? So this is the theme which you need to remember for the exam, right? So we have seen what is World Sustainable Development Summit, what is the facts related to it, what is the objective, then who is conducting, so details about that particular organization, and finally this year summit as well. Okay, let's move to the next article. Again, very, very important, Prithvi Vigyan scheme. Again, these are all facts, so no need of too much effort from your side, from my side. You need to remember them as much as possible, right? So the context is this: January 5th of this year, government has approved to launch Prithvi Vigyan scheme. This was implemented or informed by the Ministry of Earth Science. So yesterday there was a parliament session. Under this, Ministry of Earth Science has given a report that government has already launched it on January 5th for the period of 2021 to 26. So till from 2021 to 2026, whatever the requirement initiatives that are linked, we are going to give it, right? So 2021 to 26, the whatever the schemes related to the, we will see what is the details of the scheme. So this was the information given, and the funds allocated were 4797 crores. Government has given funds of 4797 crores for the next coming 2-3 years, right? So it is implementing during this financial year of 2021 and 26. So that's why we have taken this article. Now let's understand the objectives of Prithvi Vigyan scheme. This is the most popular question that you may see. So they will directly ask Prithvi Vigyan scheme is related to what, or what is the objective of Prithvi Vigyan scheme. Here it aims to augment long-term observation of Earth. So this particular scheme, whatever the funds given, will observe the Earth system, whatever the changes that are taking place, whether in terms of oceans, whether in terms of territorial things, land. So it will observe the Earth and give the details to the ministry so that they will know what are the challenges that Earth are facing. So Prithvi means what? Earth. That's what the simple thing you need to remember. So this particular scheme is to study the Earth, right? And they will also developing a models. So you might be aware what is model and prototype, right? So whatever the Earth is changing, we will create the same model, right? Same model, and then we will impact those temperatures on this, and we will test how the consequences will be. So this particular scheme will also model certain things related to the Earth, and they will study prediction of weather, right? Climate change, ocean hazards, disasters, all these things will be studied under this particular scheme. So what is the aim at the end? Objective is to study the changes on Earth and to avoid the disasters that are coming in the next few years. That is the objective. This will also explore polar and high seas. So this is the Earth. These are the polar regions, North Pole, South Pole, and then high seas, that is Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, beyond the coastal areas. So this particular scheme will also study those regions, right? And it also have 5 sub-schemes. This is very, very important to remember. Already there were some sub-schemes. All these schemes were kept under the Prithvi, right? So you might confused, sir, why it is launched now, but it is saying that 2021 to 26, because there were already some existing schemes. Those are all being merged under one particular scheme, that is Prithvi, these are all schemes launched way back in 2021 itself. So here you can remember the scheme names, no need to worry about details, because from the name itself you can easily know. Atmosphere and Climate Research Modeling Observation System. So it want to observe the atmosphere. So they may also ask the full forms or across, something like that. Then OSMART, Ocean Modeling, PACER, Polar Science, Seismology and Geoscience, SAGE, and then Reach Out, Research Education Training. So all these 5 schemes are under this Prithvi scheme. You need to remember these 5 names. They may ask in the exam which of the following comes under the Prithvi, and they will give some other names as well, right? So these are the 5 schemes being merged under Prithvi. And the details of the scheme launched by Ministry of Earth Science. You need to remember the ministry, right? Don't confuse with Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Science and Technology. This is of Ministry of Earth Science. And there are 5 components, important to remember. Total 5 components are under the scheme. Atmosphere. Atmosphere means the higher layers of Earth, right? So it can be troposphere, all these things. So this is atmosphere. And then hydrosphere, that means water related to the Earth. Geosphere, so whatever the land mass. Then cryosphere, ice, that is Antarctic, Arctic, whatever the ice regions, Tibet. Then biosphere, all the life. So there are total 5 components under the scheme. Period will be 2021 to 26, and the total cost of the project will be 4797 crores, right? So we have seen in detail of the facts and what are all the things that scheme is taking care and the facts related to this particular scheme. Next, Rashtriya Gokul Mission. So the context is simple. Again, the ministry has presented the report in front of the parliament. So budget allocation for this particular scheme has increased by approximately 45%. So Ministry of Agriculture said that we have increased the budget for Rashtriya Gokul Mission by 50% in this financial year. They have submitted the report. Now let's see what is Gokul Mission. Gokul means you might be aware about it. From the name itself there will be some clue, like how Prithvi we have earth. The same for applicable to most of the schemes. So here they want to protect the indigenous cows, right? So milk is very, very important, isn't it, for the survival of agriculture. So here they want to promote the indigenous breeds. We have indigenous breeds, Ongol, Gitta we can call from Andhra Pradesh, and then in different regions we have different types of cows. Government want to protect them and enhance the survival or the production of this particular bovine animals, right? So it aims to enhance productivity of indigenous breeds. That is the objective. What is the objective of Rashtriya Gokul Mission? They may ask in the exam. It aims to enhance the productivity in indigenous cows, right? So there are a lot of farmers who are using the cattle from different countries. We import and then we are using it. Even though we are having number of resources, government is not able to support. That's why government has brought this particular scheme to enhance the productivity of milk, right, from these indigenous breeds. That is the objective. It is being implemented under National Program for Bovine Breeding and Dairy Development. This is also important to remember. Already there is a scheme called National Program for Bovine Breeding and Dairy Development. Under this scheme, there are again 3 sub-schemes. You can see here, National Program for Bovine Breeding, National Program for Dairy Development and Rashtriya Gokul Mission. So this is the report submitted by the report. We are exclusively seeing details about this particular scheme. We are not considering the other schemes. Just because this is under this particular, I have mentioned here, it is being implemented by Department of Agriculture or Dairy under Ministry of Agriculture. The funds, the scheme will be continued for 2021 to 26. And the total cost given is 2,400 crores for this particular project. Very simple, the facts are very direct. What is the objective of the scheme? To enhance productivity, and which ministry, how much funds are given, which is the financial year, under which scheme this Rashtriya Gokul Mission is implementing. That's all, very factual in nature. Also, one more important thing here is what the government has provided here, the details. Right? These facts are very, very important for exam. I'll tell you, I'll just stress this, only those facts you can remember. Government has given this is the recent data. Government has said that there is an increase of 57% of milk production in last 9 years. That you can remember how much milk production has increased in last 10 years and what is the current amount of milk that we are producing. This is very, very important. What is the current milk that India is producing? 230.60 million metric tons during 2020 to 23 year. So in a single year, we are producing 230.60 million. This is the recent data, very important to remember, right? Also, government has come up with one more thing, the productivity of cattle. So this is the total production all the bovine animals are giving in a year across India. Now, government has also given for each cattle how much milk it is giving. Individual cattle, it is giving 2048 kg per animal per year, right? This is also important data. So each animal is giving 2048 kg per year, right? So which is a very good number. It has increased from 1648 in last 9 years before. So this two you need to remember here. These two facts and how much percentage we have increased. That's all. No need to worry about other data. Just I have copied just to show, to make you understand it has increased, right? So these are the numbers that you need to remember. One more data is given by the ministry, that total value of milk. This is amount, volume, how much in terms of weight. Now in terms of money also it has given 9.9 lakh crores. So the total amount of this total production 230 million metric tons, approximately 10 lakh crores can be amounted. It is a value how much the government or the cattle is producing across India, right? which is highest of agriculture produce. So, I mean, among all the agriculture produce, including fisheries, different wheat, paddy, so this is the highest one. That is also very important to remember, right? So, even together combined, it is beyond the value of combined paddy and wheat. How much we are producing, the total value of milk is much higher than paddy, wheat together, right? So, these are the facts that you need to remember for the exam. See, this type of data is not usually covered in newspapers or even monthly magazines. If you take the monthly magazines also, just try to do it. No magazines will mention here. That's why it is very important to read PIB, right? So, whatever the important data we are discussing, whatever relevant for our exams, we are collecting it and we are discussing here, right? So, that is about the National Gokul Mission and the data provided by the government. Next scheme, any doubt in this? Anyone? So, if you have any doubts, you can ask here, right? Next, Nai Manzil scheme. This is again the data given by the Ministry of Minority Affairs in front of the Parliament, right? So, very important. The context is very simple. Ministry of Minority Affairs has given about this scheme in front of the Parliament. That's why we have taken the news and the data from particular this scheme given by the Ministry of Minority Affairs. The ministry said that approximately 98,712 beneficiaries were benefited from Nai Manzil scheme, right? I will discuss about the Nai Manzil scheme, no need to worry. Just understand the context that government has launched Nai Manzil scheme. Under that, 98,000 beneficiary has been benefited. And who launched this scheme? Ministry of Minority Affairs. Now, let's move into the scheme. What actually the objective, why government has launched this particular scheme and the facts related to it. The main thing or the objective of the scheme is to increase the skills among minorities. So, if you consider the data, usually or generally since last few years, the minorities like Muslims, Christians or many other like Sikhs, Buddhists, they were little bit behind in terms of human indices or you can say in terms of employment, education, especially the people from Muslims, it was clearly mentioned by the government itself that they are behind in the development. That's why government has bought this particular scheme to make them more educated as well as skill development so that they will also get the employment. So finally they will move in terms of the advancement in their life, right? So the objective is very simple. Government want to educate the people from minority section and then provide skills, finally lead to the employment opportunities. That is the objective of the scheme and the facts are the scheme covers for only the people who are between 17 and 35 years age. This is the fact to be remembered. The objective is very simple, just to make them educated, skill development and employment. Now who are eligible? Between 17 to 35 years people only, not other people, right? So that is the objective and the fact. Also, under the scheme, minimum 30% are embarked for female students. So you might be very much aware that there is a high amount of patriarchy. That means women are usually seen as a people who want to work in home and then a male person has to get a job and then to earn money, right? But that is not the case. Everyone should be equally seen, right? So our society is developing and then people are getting aware. So government is also encouraging that women should participate in employment and get educated, right? So 30% of seats are reserved for minority girls, okay, under the scheme. This will also give non-residential programs. Under this scheme, the government will also support non-residential. That means they can come and reside beyond their homes. There will be hostels, right? So for 9 to 12 months, right? So that is also important. The scheme covers the entire country. There is no specific that this particular region will be covered under the scheme. It is covered throughout India, right? So these are all the facts related to that. Now let's see the information given by, PIB means Press Information Bureau, that is the government website. Whenever there is a news from any ministry, so it will be given in the Press Information Bureau. So you can just go and check it, but there will be lot of news. If you are a new person, it is very difficult to compile the news, right? But once you habituated, it is much easier, okay? So that is a government website. Now, government has given certain data as well. After giving the scheme, the objectives of the scheme and what are all the facts related to that, we need to know the data given by ministry as well. So the implementation year is 2014-15 to 2020-21. Important to remember. So now the scheme is discontinued. Okay. So only it was from 2015 to 2021. The beneficiaries were targeted till now under the scheme is 98,712, and they have succeeded in giving employment as well. So they have trained 98,000 person approximately, and 58,000 got employment. So it is much more than 50% they were able to succeed, right? This was given. Total budget allocated was 562 crores. The total budget allocated to this particular scheme was 562 crores. Out of that, only 456 was spent on this. So still there are some 100 crores which is not yet spent. So you can remember this, and you can remember the numbers, you can remember the year of the scheme in implementation, right? And what is the objective, what is the reservation, all these facts are also very, very important, which we have already discussed. Any doubts? Okay, let's move ahead. Last two more articles, then we will see the factual data. Today we have a lot of facts in PIB itself. So all these things are compiled. A little bit lengthy session can be expected, but it is worth. You can see a lot of questions in the coming exams where the questions will be more on factual basis, like tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 exams. So try to remember these facts. If possible, make a note of it as well. It will be helpful for your coming examinations. Next article, primary agriculture credit societies. Primary agriculture credit societies. Okay. So this, the context, let's discuss about it. Government is going to digitalize all the 63,000 active primary agriculture credit societies. We will see what actually is primary agriculture credit societies. No need to worry, again I am telling, government is going to digitalize them, right? No physical activity will be there. So all the data related to these things will be digitalized and connected across India. So for that, government has allocated 2,516 crore. This is also important to remember. Government is going to digitalize primary agriculture credit societies with the fund of 2,516 crores in the next coming few years. Now, before going into the scheme related details of what is the government is given and all, let's understand what actually is primary agriculture credit societies. If you go back to 50-60 years before, the farmers who want money to invest, right, in terms of seeds, in terms of fertilizers, in terms of pesticides, so whatever they want, they used to take from the local money lender, right? So some from particular community or cash, you can say, there are certain persons who are having more funds in the village, so they will go, right, they will take money and they will invest in the agriculture. But what is happening here, the people who are giving funds or loans to the farmers, they used to exploit them. They used to charge more interest because there is no bank, there is no society who are giving legally to the farmers. So these farmers are struggling from those landlords who are charging them, and then they are using them as a bonded labor, right, finally. So that was the issue since few years before. But now government is tried as much as possible. They are giving Jandan Yojana, bank accounts, digitalization. So they are trying to eliminate these money lenders. So farmers can directly bring money from the government itself, right? So they can invest, they can grow themselves, and also country will grow indirectly, right? So that was the case. Now here primary agriculture societies are you can observe here, cooperative. We have a cooperative credit societies in India, urban cooperative banks and rural cooperative credit institutions. So these are very popular. Urban cooperative banks, you might be aware about it. Cooperative banks means all the money is pooled by the persons itself. So every member is the owner of that bank, right? So here we have rural cooperative credit. Under that there is a short term structure within 1 year or 2 years medium. In a long term, that means for 5 years, 10 years also they will give the loans. So these primary agriculture societies are short term credit institutions. They will give loan for 1 year, for one cycle you can say. So if farmer want to sow the seeds, get the pesticides, so So he will go to the bank or primary agriculture credit societies. He will take money, he will cultivate. After getting some profits, he will give back to this particular cooperative with some very small interest, right? So that's how the primary agriculture credit societies work, right? So we have already discussed these things. These are under the cooperative structure, rural cooperative, right? And short term, they are giving short term. Okay, so here it is not mentioned. It is a short term credit given to the farmers, and the aim is to give input money for the farmers and to encourage the production of the agriculture, right? So this is about the primary agriculture societies. Here what will happen, there is already a higher bank. So there will be higher bank which is called as State Cooperative Bank, SCB. Understand this, very important. There is a State Cooperative Bank. It will give money to District Cooperative Bank, and District Cooperative Bank will give to primary agriculture societies, that is PACs. So these PACs will directly give to farmers, right? So this is the structure. State Cooperative Bank, District Cooperative Bank, and then primary agriculture society, which will directly give money to the farmers, right? So the thing is, government is directly giving the credit to the farmers. There is no intermediaries. They are eliminating the middleman or the landlords. That's why, that's how these PACs, primary agriculture credit societies, are working. They are short term, yes, I already told. They are giving short term and medium term. In statements, they may change it to the long term, something like that. So be aware, this is the short term. The first PACs was established in 1904. Very important. First primary agriculture credit society was established in 1904. Okay, so those are about PACs. Yes, Gautam, we are trying it. Already there was instructions from management. Yes, we will be having a quick revision sessions. Like no, we are not going to discuss about issue based. Rather, we will come up with a quick, right? But I'm telling with my experience after writing lot of exams, including UPSC and many other exams. I'm telling you, without understanding the issue, if you are just mugging up the facts, in the exam you will confuse and you will choose the wrong options. That's why I always stress this particular thing to the students, that you need to understand the issue, understand what actually it is, how it is working, then try to connect it to the facts relevant for the exam. So that will be, it gives you the more holistic preparation, and your mistakes will reduce. Okay, very good evening, Ekank. Yeah. So we have discussed about the primary agriculture societies, how they are working, what is the objective of it, when was the first PACs was established, right? Now the next article, Edsil Vidyanjali Scholarship Program. Again the same thing we have taken from Press Information Bureau. It was given by Ministry of Education, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, right? So they have launched the scheme. The government under Ministry of Education has launched the scheme yesterday in New Delhi. That's why we have taken this article. Now what we have to do, whenever there is a scheme, you need to know which ministry or which organization has launched this, what is the objective, what is the funds, what is the speciality, if there is any such speciality from that particular scheme, right? So the new scheme was launched by Ministry of Education, right? Vidyanjali Scholarship Program, Edsil Vidyanjali Scholarship Program. Before going into about the scheme, let's understand what actually is Edsil. Okay, so here Edsil Vidyanjali Scholarship Program was there. You need to understand what actually is Edsil before going into the scheme. Edsil is nothing but earlier called as Educational Consultants India Limited. It is like a public sector unit, PSU under Government of India. It is a PSU under Ministry of Education. I hope you are following. I am expecting any response. I hope you are following it. It is a PSU under Ministry of Education, right? It is a mini Ratna company. We have a different companies based on their investment, based on their profit. It is a small company under PSUs. Mini Ratna, Maharatna, Navaratna, we have different categories. So this is a mini Ratna company under Ministry of Education. And what is the role of this PSU? It offers management and consultancy services related to education. So how should India develop the education? What type of curriculum should be made, right? All these services is taken care by Edsil under Ministry of Education. It is incorporated as a PSU in 1981. Very important. It became a PSU in 1981. It is assisting India and all other stakeholders within India in terms of education. That is the role of EDSIL. Now, this particular organization PSU is giving scholarship to the students. To whom? That is the objective of the scheme. It is giving scholarship belonging to the economically disadvantaged sections. So it can be from scheduled caste, it can be from other backward castes, it can be from general category as well if the parents are poor. It is giving scholarship. How much that we will see now. So 70 students were selected, total 70 students with a total amount of 5 crores. The money will be given to those students who are poor, so they can go and educated and finally they can pay back, right? Sometimes this money is being given with the free. Government is yet to elaborate on the scheme because it was launched yesterday only. As of now, what we have known, it will be a scholarship program. That is, free money will be given to the poor students and they will be educated. What is the end objective? So if youth are developing, the final country will also be developed, right? So because they can contribute to research and development, employment, generating entrepreneurship. So in whatever way possible, education is very basic thing, right? So there was selection of 70 students who are going to be given with the 5 crore, right? It is also going to encourage the private sector like Tatas, Adanis, Ambanis. So these are all private companies where they can also contribute for this. Corporate social responsibility is already existing. At least 2% of the profit has to be spent on social schemes by the private organization, right? So it is also encouraging the private sector to participate, give scholarship to the poor students. Very simple, right? So what is EDSIL and what is the objective of the scheme? Fact related to it. Okay? Yeah. So this is the last article before going to the facts and solving some MCQs. As I told, this will be a little bit lengthy session because there's a lot of things to be covered. Once PIB or parliament session is over, we won't have too much data. Okay? Only when there is a parliament session, we will have more news. So we need to cover them, right? So Divya Kala Mela, very simple article. The context is very simple again. It was inaugurated by Sri Ratan Lal Nath, Cabinet Ministry of Power. So this Divya Kala Mela was launched yesterday by the Ministry of Power, right? So we will see what is the Mela was. So about the Divya Kala Mela, it is a unique showcasing products of craftsmanship of Divyang. So there are certain, category of people, of course, physically challenged. Still, they are not behind like a normal people. Even normal people, you can see a lot of people who are simply, without contributing anything to the country, they are just simply staying. But there is a situation where even the physically challenged people are contributing a lot to the crafts. So government wants to recognize their contribution. Whatever the crafts, it can be anything, it can be painting, it can be any craft, it can be any sport, right? So whatever they are contributing, manufacturing in terms of small goods, government want to organize the Mela and showcase the craftsmanship of the physically challenged people. Those are called as Divyang, right? So objective is to just showcase the craftsmanship and product of the Divyangs. And who is going to conduct this? This is being conducted by Ministry of Social Justice, right? So this is being conducted Ministry of Social Justice, and this year Mela, it is happening in Agartala, Tripura. This is important, and this is the 14th one in the series. Very direct facts, objective, which organization conducting, where it is happening. That's all. Okay. I hope you are clear. Now let's move to the factual pointers. Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay. Now let's understand the factual pointers given in the PIB itself again and some newspapers as well. Government has informed that the total nuclear power capacity of India as of 2023 is 7480 megawatts. Nuclear power of India, right, as of 2023. This is important, 7480 megawatts. Now government also aiming to make it 22,800 megawatts by 2031-32. This is also very important to remember. What is the aim of the government to achieve nuclear power by 2031-32? They may ask. So as of now, 7480 megawatts government is trying to achieve 22,800 megawatts by 2031-32. So that is the fact. So a few days back, we have seen how much steel is produced in the country, right? So I have told you, you can go back to the session. I have pointed how to remember and all, so the total and the trend. Here also you need to remember the trend. This is the coal production given by the ministry from 2018-19 till 2022-23. So the trend you can see, it was actually increased in 2019, and then there is a decrease. So the trend you need to know, and this year production, this is the important to remember. How much coal government has produced? Million tons. Million means 10 lakhs. So this is the number that you need to remember. How much amount of coal government has produced in 2022-23? That is the recent data. 893.19 million tons. What about the steel? I have already told. It was around 200. Even I forgot, of course. So it was around not even 200. It is less than that. 127 million tons something. You can just go back to the session and you can remember. So this is the amount of coal that government has produced. So this is enough to remember. Next, one more data is there. India's exports of millets, right, of 2022-23. What you need to remember? The total amount, right, in terms of USD millions. The total amount you need to remember how much millets has been produced in 2022-23 and which state is top. That is again important. Gujarat ranks 1. At least top 2 you can remember. This is how the questions are framed. Which state is highest in millet exports in 2020-23? So no other newspapers will cover. You need to explore this and you need to make a short note of it. Gujarat has the highest, and this is the amount total of India's export for the millets in 2020-23. So these two states and then this amount you can remember for exam point of view. Next, so there is one more important thing, that is World Defence Show 2024 happening in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. So our Ministry of State Ajay Bhatt is attending as a member from India. It is happening in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. World Defence Show 2024 happening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And for what purpose? To showcase the latest technology in defense. Very simple. That's how the questions can be framed. Where it happened, what is the objective. Next, very important thing, India's first hyper-velocity expansion tunnel test facility. Let's understand this. This actually, we have a lot of defense, we need to launch a lot of missiles, and those missiles has to travel in a much higher speed, right? So they need to travel with a much higher speed than even sound, right? Then only we will be efficiently attack the enemy. So government, IIT Kanpur has tested a technology that even going directly into the field, we can test here itself in the lab whether the particular technologies can be efficiently targeting this particular enemies. So IIT Kanpur has developed a hyper velocity expansion tunnel test facility. Hyper velocity means 3 kilometers per second or more. Okay, so this is called as hyper velocity capacity. So this IIT Kanpur has developed a test facility for defense purposes. The total amount cost was 4.5 crores given by Ministry of Science and Technology. Very simple. This test facility is to test the missiles in the lab itself rather than directly into the the actual land mass. So here we can test this in the facility developed by IIT Kanpur. Who developed this? What actually is this? How much is the hyper velocity means? That is sufficient for our exam. This is named as very important thing, S2. So it is nothing but this first hyper velocity expansion tunnel facility is called as S2. Very important. You may confuse, they may directly ask what is S2, that was recently in news, right? So it is a hyper velocity test vehicle developed by IIT Kanpur. One more important data given again by ministry. So all these things I am telling you, will not be covered anywhere. You need to extract from this and then you need to read it. So here ministry has given data related to the renewable energy. So here total wind production, India's total wind energy production is in terms of million units, in terms of million units. So this is the total wind generation, and Gujarat and Tamil Nadu is the first and second states in the 2023-24. So Gujarat is the largest producer of wind energy, followed by Tamil Nadu. This is the total energy produced. In terms of solar energy, this is the total. So solar energy is greater than wind energy. Top states are Rajasthan, followed by Karnataka. 1 and 2. Important to remember. Top producers of wind, top producers of solar, and then total biomass. Biomass means through life matter like plant material and all. So total production is 2534. Top rank is Chhattisgarh, second is Punjab. Bagasse means gas produced from the ethanol blending and all. So this is total 5600, right? Top state is Karnataka and Maharashtra, right? So at least remember the top states. In wind, Gujarat, solar energy, Rajasthan, biomass, Chhattisgarh, and then bagasse is Karnataka, okay? So the total amount of renewable energy produced by India is this much. This number need to be remembered. Total renewable energy excluding large hydropower projects. Large hydropower projects are generally harmful in nature. Rather, we should go always for small hydro projects, right? So this is without hydro project, the bigger hydro projects, and this is with the big, including the large hydropower. This plus hydropower leading to this amount. This data you need to remember for the exam point of view, right? Last, maternal mortality rate of India that you need to remember as of 2020, right? So where is it? Here it is. 2023 MMR of India has declined from 384 in 2002. Sorry, this is the number. What is maternal mortality rate? The total deaths of women who are in pregnancy divided by the total women who are in the pregnancy stage. So there are a lot of deaths, right? So around 103 was India's number as of 2023. Only that is sufficient, which is much better than global average. This 103 number should be remembered. Maternal mortality rate of India as of 2020. Last fact, first BIMSTEC Aquatics Championship is being held in New Delhi. First BIMSTEC Aquatic Championships are being held in Delhi. BIMSTEC is Bay of Bengal initiative for economic cooperation under the South Asian countries, right? So this is happening in New Delhi. Okay, now let's solve the MCQs. I understand that this is little bit lengthy session, but yes, it is worth. We have collected all the data, right? First question, which of the following statements about election commissioners are correct? So related to the election commissioners, we have discussed in detail. They are giving the question related to the election commission. The chief election commissioner and other election commissioners enjoy equal powers but receives unequal salary. That is the first statement. Second statement, the chief election commissioner shall not be removed from his office except in like manner of judge of Supreme Court. That is the second statement. The term chief election commissioner is fixed and decided by the president. So the term, the tenure, term means tenure here. So tenure of election commissioner is fixed by the president, right? So that's what the statement. Answer, someone has said D, AIMC BWD. Okay. Any other answers? Okay. First one, let's check the statement. Chief election commissioner and the election commissioner enjoy equal power but receive unequal salary. This is wrong. Everyone receives the equal salary. So first statement is eliminated. Next, commissioner shall not be removed from office except judge of the Supreme Court. Yes, that is correct. Similar to the Supreme Court judge, they can remove. The term of chief election commissioner is not fixed or decided by the president. Rather, it is already mentioned in the constitution that 6 years, or 65, whichever is earlier. So answer is correct. Very good. Next question. What are the advantages of introducing satellite based toll collection in India? So they are asking what are the advantages of satellite based toll collection. It can reduce amount of money to be paid by the consumer per kilometer distance. So it is saying that it can reduce the amount to be paid by the consumer per kilometer. It will reduce the congestion of vehicles on the roads. It will reduce the need of digital technology in toll collection. These are application based questions. I am giving you 20 seconds, you can answer. So someone have answered it as D. Any other answers? Okay, I am going ahead. First one, yes, it will reduce because the toll, rather than collecting based on the toll collection, we will collect it based on the distance. So whatever the distance it is covered, so it will reduce the per kilometer distance. It will reduce congestion in vehicles. Yes, there no need to stop anywhere. It will reduce the need of digital technology. This is wrong. Of course, digital technology is needed. Computerization is needed. Satellite communication is needed. So this is very, again a statement. So you can easily eliminate such type of statements. So answer is A, 1 and 2. Okay. Next, someone have answered, almost everyone has answered it as D, but you need to think before, rather than jumping into it. So here the statement itself is giving some clue. It need do away with the digital technology. Without digital technology, how can we work? Next, the Energy and Research Institute, which organizes the World Sustainable Development Summit, is a. So what is theory they are asking? It is a statutory body under Ministry of Environment, intergovernmental organization working on energy resources, non-governmental expertise organization, alliance under International Energy Agency. Answer for this question? What type of organization is this? Is it a body, statutory body under Ministry of Environment or intergovernmental? Right? So it is not a government body, firstly. Intergovernmental body, it is not an intergovernmental body. Intergovernmental means all the governments together are establishing at the international level. It is not an such organization. A non-governmental expertise organization, yes. So it is a non-government, non-profit organization, expertise in energy. Right? It is not even alliance as well. Next question. Nai Manzil scheme was implemented by. Nai Manzil scheme. Nai Manzil scheme is implemented by Niti Aayog, Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Minority Affairs. Anyone? 4D. Correct. It was implemented by Ministry of Minority Affairs. Last question of the day. Which of the following category of renewable energy is dominant in India's energy basket as of 2023 December? So we have discussed the data, how much of each energy. So among these four, which of the following is a dominant renewable energy? Fifth one. Fourth one is D actually. Sorry, fourth one is actually C. Okay. So this is a non-governmental expertise organization. Okay. Last question. Fifth A. Someone have answered fifth A. Malini. No, it is actually solar energy. So that's what I stressed when we are doing this data. You can see here, total solar energy is 84,319 million units and wind energy is 69,824. That's why I stressed. This is how the questions will be asked. You need to know, compare the data and analyze it. Just by hearting will be an issue, right? So that is for today's session. Thanks a lot. It was a lengthy session, I understand, but there is a lot of facts to be discussed. That's why it was a little bit lengthy, but it will be worth. You can see a lot of questions from this session. Thanks a lot. Keep working, keep following. Thank you.